Let's welcome in our co-hosts this morning. He is a former member of the House of Delegates over the course of 26 years, not consecutive years, though. Former Deputy Revenue Secretary, a Vietnam veteran, Mr. John Doyle.
Good morning, everybody.
Great to have you here with us, Mr. Doyle.
It's great to be here.
Also, Mike Gallers Jr., former candidate for the House of Delegates, and a person who's very much involved in politics in our area as well as part of his day job. Mr. Michael Allers Jr., good morning to you.
Good morning, failing upwards to co-host, though. Not a bad...
That's how I did it. And Mike, also formerly a teacher.
Yes.
As well. How many years did you teach, Mike?
6.
6 years?
6, 7, yeah.
All subjects?
I taught just about 6th grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 2nd, preschool.
And now you're teaching 2 young children at home.
Yes. So using my skills for them.
Good luck to you on that.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Our first guest as we open up the show is the Secretary of State of West Virginia, Kris Warner. Kris, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning. Blessed to be calling in from Greenbrier County this morning and joining you.
What brings you to Greenbrier County, sir?
The state fair is 100 years old, and we, working in conjunction with the legislature, recognize we have a Centurion Award for those businesses that have run continuously for 100 years. So we're going to make that award later on today at the fair.
Oh, well, congratulations. That's very nice. Yeah, get a funnel cake, too, while you're there.
I don't need any funnel cakes, sir.
Don't worry. Well, we can work with you on that one, too.
All right.
All right. Let's also talk about National Poll Worker Recruitment Day, because I guess that was Tuesday of this past week. And I know in Berkeley County, poll workers got a bit of a raise last year, too. When you have elections, you got to have poll workers. How many do you need in the state of West Virginia?
We need exactly, for the next general election, 8,255 poll workers. That comes out to 5 poll workers for every one of our 1,651 precincts. So we got started early this week and started to get the message out about 9 months out that almost every county in West Virginia, there are 53 counties that predict they're going to need help filling those positions. So it's a very rewarding day, and we're encouraging folks to consider registering to be a poll worker if your schedule permits that. It's a very long day, but rewarding.
Yeah, and you have a 2-hour training class you have to attend to become a poll worker?
Yeah, you get paid for the 2-hour training class, and as you mentioned, pay in Berkeley County has risen. Depending on what county you're in, it could be anywhere from $150 to $300, and then you add in your pay for the training class as well.
And what do you have to do as a poll worker specifically?
Well, it is a long day. You got to be ready to be at the poll, at 5:30 in the morning, and you're working all day long, and the polls don't close until 7:30, and then there's, cleanup work and getting those ballots to the courthouse. So it's a long day. But the only thing that that would qualify you is if you're willing to work in your home county and you're a registered voter, you're able to be a poll worker on Election Day.
But you must be a registered voter.
You have to be a registered voter. That means even high school seniors that will turn 18 by the general election can go ahead and register now to vote, and then also register to be a poll worker.
Do most of the poll workers return for the next election to work as a poll worker again?
We have many folks that do, but as we all know, when we walk into the polling place, it seems that it's quite frankly elderly and older people like me that are there at the polling place, and they need help sometimes moving the heavy voting machines around, the voting boxes, tables, lifting things. So we're looking for folks of all ages, and especially want to encourage the younger generation to start stepping in for when the elderly folks determine they can't do this anymore.
Mr. Doyle.
Kris, hi, this is John Doyle. You mentioned there are 53 counties that are going to need poll workers. What are the 2 that don't?
Well, actually, it's 3. It's Kanawha County, Putnam County, and Barber County. I cannot figure out why, but all the other counties, 52 counties, say they're going to need help filling the poll worker positions. In the last election, and it happens in each election, but life happens. People get sick. They're responsible for a family member, and all of a sudden on election morning, they can't work. So we want to make sure we have a list of alternates, as well as 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans in every polling place, and then an unaffiliated or one of the lesser parties can fill that 5th position, and that's up to the county clerk who that 5th poll worker is in each precinct.
I think last year, I believe it was the first year in the 24 election, I think it was, maybe in 22, but I don't think so, that you all for the first time allowed people to work halftime at the polls. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's really up to the county clerk. Make no mistake about it. I mean, they like to say I'm the chief election official. The county clerks are the chief election officials in each of their counties. So that's a determination made by the county clerk. It is something that I think that we have a county clerks conference coming up this next week in Canaan Valley. All 55 counties have registered. So it's one of those things that if the county clerks think that's a good idea, we would be glad to take that to the West Virginia legislature and, formalize that. But the county clerks can do that if they feel they need to.
What are the early
that to fill the positions?
Yeah, Kris, what are the early returns on that about how well that has worked out?
I've just finished a 55 county tour, just finished up on Monday in Webster County, and the clerks that have used it have found that to be effective. There's some clerks that have just said, it wasn't necessary. Maybe it's a small county. But the thing that we have got to be ready for, and this is not foreboding, but the executive order out of the White House, says that we're going to stop using voting machines and scanners, optical scanners. Now that's got to be unpacked, and the courts are going to deal with that. But barring the West Virginia state legislature saying we're going to go to a hand-marked paper ballot and not using any scanner to read that ballot, we're going to continue the way that we have in the past and use the machines that we currently have in place.
I hope so, because I think as long as you've got that paper trail, I think that's critical. But if you've got the paper trail so that if anybody alleges anything untoward, you've got the paper trail that you can go back and count the paper ballots if you need to.
You're exactly right, Delegate. The machines we have, it's called an express vote. It creates the paper ballot. It is really a marking machine, but it does have a barcode at the bottom, but that's only used for unofficial results on election night. We all know 10 days later after the election, there is a hand count or an audit of at least 3% of the precincts in every county. And if the vote is off by more than 1%, you have to hand count every ballot in the county. But we've never had a problem with the scanners and the barcodes in West Virginia. But we have to be ever watchful, and we have a plan B and C in case we have to print the 900 different ballot styles that make up a statewide election, and be ready to go if you have to hand count. And that's where maybe a half-day worker would help, because 15, 16 hours is a very long day for any of us, much less somebody that's older, and we might need to go to that half-day worker to hand count those ballots if that's what is forced by the executive order.
I'm sorry. One more question for you, Kris. And that when you mentioned older people like I'm 83, and so I might consider working the polls if I could do it a half a day. I'm not going to do that 16-hour day. No more. I used to do that, but not anymore. Anyway, have you considered, or have any of the clerks considered asking you? You mentioned that someone who is in high school, say, is going to turn 18 by Election Day. Have you considered even making that a little younger? So maybe juniors in high school could be poll workers, and that way they learn a little something more about how elections go on.
Two things on that very quickly. That's a call by the West Virginia legislature, and we're here to carry out the will and pleasure of the legislature. We are in the high schools with our Jennings Randolph Award, and when we ask them to consider registering as seniors in high school, we let them know of the opportunity to earn up to $300 per day as a poll worker. So we're doing that right now with the 17 and 18-year-olds, but the legislature would have to make that call. If
Would
we
you
were gonna
object
allow
to
someone
it if
younger.
the legislature said let's lower it to 16?
I wouldn't object to anything that the state legislature decided. That's what we're here to do.
All right.
Deli,
I'm
did you
done,
know that?
Kris.
You know that.
I'm done.
Mike Allers Jr.
Yeah, Mr. Secretary, how do we get more young people involved? What would be, I guess, some of the ideas that you guys are kicking around? Because, one thing that worries me is that West Virginia is considered like one of the most least engaged states when it comes to like voter turnout. So how do we get our young people more involved? Do you think they're put off more because of the exact hours they would have to work, or because there's a lack of maybe civic engagement in our schools?
Well, a lot there to take in. Let me just let you know, at the State Fair this week at the booth that we have folks working, we're allowing elementary age kids to vote on their favorite ice cream and their favorite superheroes. So we're trying
That's
to get
awesome.
them used to being able to, vote, put it in the ballot box, get the I voted sticker. So we are starting, as early as we can. But you mentioned voter participation and turnout. Turnout is not the Secretary of State's job. That's up to the parties. It's up to the candidates. Our job is to make it as easy as possible to vote and hard to cheat, quite frankly. But that's going to take involvement from all of us, and doing what you're doing right here can help get that message out and encourage our young people to be civically engaged.
Absolutely. Because it's definitely, I definitely feel as a former teacher, it's a problem that, there's so much emphasis on, science, math, but not enough on civics and civic engagement. So, as much as we can, that should definitely be a focus.
Well, we're going to have to do it through social media, quite frankly. And this is only anecdotal, but I remember one county clerk saying that they had a high school senior that was working the poll in the last election, and the local precinct, and they showed up and they kept pulling their phone out, and they said, "You can't use your phone while you're working. That's strictly forbidden in the polling place." And they ended up sending that high school senior home because, number one, they took the phone from them, and two, they fell asleep after they didn't have their phone. So
I think you just
honest to God's truth. We've got to be where they are, and if they're on their phones constantly, that's where we've got to be.
Oh man, I didn't even think of that, but that actually tracks with the
Teenagers
high school
require a lot of sleep. They do. Chris,
And a lot of screen time.
And a lot of screen time. I'll take you away from elections for a quick moment here, because the release I got yesterday had to deal with the number of new businesses that were started in West Virginia for July. The number was 1,229. Berkeley County led the way with 120. Jefferson County was tied with Cabell County for fifth at 60 new registrations for business. So I'm sure a part of our audience is not aware of the Secretary of State's role in new business registrations.
Okay. We are the chief business officer of the state, so we register all new businesses. We have an office in Martinsburg we're very proud of, a West Virginia one-stop business center, and we are making a major effort to focus as much on the business aspect of our office. Again, we only have 6 full-time workers in the Secretary of State's office that focus on elections, but we're trying to make it as easy as possible for a business to register. What used to take 2 weeks now takes less than 2 hours. You can register from your pajamas on your couch at 1 o'clock in the morning with our 24/7 access. We call it solo single online location to do anything you need to do to register a business. So we're making a major effort with the other 40-some employees that make up the smallest constitutional office in the state to focus on business. And we're cross-training our workers at the one-stop business centers to coach people on where they can go for additional help as it relates to the Appalachian Regional Commission, USDA Rural Development, WBEDA Rural Development. So we want to be that online source and source that someone can call during the day and ask for help as to where they might go. We won't get into individual banking institutions, but we want the businesses to have an early win in West Virginia in year one so they can be self-sustaining thereafter.
Can you explain the Boots to Business and Young Entrepreneur programs and the fee waiver programs you have for these?
Yes, sir. Both the Boots to Business is for all veterans and their spouses or active duty and their spouses. The Young Entrepreneurs is under the age of 30. You can register a new business in West Virginia in either of those cases, and they pay no registration fee and no annual fees for the first 4 years. So if someone's saying, I want to try something, but I don't know if it's going to work, and I really want to go through all that, it's really simple to register a business. You can do it, again, in many cases in 30 minutes, but definitely under 2 hours, and register a business as a veteran, spouse, or a young entrepreneur under the age of 30, and pay no fees for the first 4 years.
What, in regards to the annual reports that must be filed, what's involved in that, and what are the penalties for not filing the annual reports?
Well, I think it's a $25 fee if you don't file your annual report on time, but you can do it after the fact, pay the fee. But the neatest thing I've seen, and I owned a business for 30 years, you can now, if you've been registered and you filed your report last year, when you go on this year to file your report, the last year's report pops up and you can see the numbers and, all the boxes that were filled in, your code number, whatever coding your business. And it's very easy to change the numbers you need to change and file the report with one click of a button, and you're done. So we're, trying to make it as easy as possible to conduct business in West Virginia.
The penalty is Kris takes your phone away.
And then you fall asleep?
Hey, before I forget it, if you want to register to be a poll worker, we're asking folks to go to govotewv.com, govotewv.com. Anywhere in West Virginia, we'll get that information onto the county clerk and make sure that they have an opportunity to be a poll worker.
That website, by the way, is as good of a website as there is from a government entity. If you want to find out anything about elections in West Virginia, go to that website, and you won't have any more questions, I can promise you. Everything is there.
We appreciate it. We still get frustrated because we're forced to use the server that the state of West Virginia chooses for us, but we try to make the most of it and try to keep up to date. And if you ever have suggestions, we're open for suggestions or recommendations.
Yeah, very good. Let's go back and stay on elections for a second here, Kris. How safe are elections in West Virginia? Safe from meddling from people who have bad intentions?
We have prosecuted a couple of cases. When I say prosecute, we don't have prosecutorial authority in West Virginia, but we take all the information we have, turn it over to local prosecutors, and then do our best to encourage them to prosecute. But we've had situations of, filing where they do not live or where their home is. We've had several situations of people voting twice in an election, once in Florida, once in Wyoming County, West Virginia. So we have an excellent staff that stays on top of that, and we do the investigations, and then we turn everything we have over to the prosecutor, and it's up to the prosecutor to determine to prosecute. We'd love to have those powers in West Virginia because there are many cases, quite frankly, that we turn over, and it's just not important enough to the prosecutor to go after an election crime. But we stay on top of it, and with another executive order by the president, we could go to the Department of Justice if we needed to, if it's a case that involves a federal election or federal crime.
Yeah, there was a a case a couple years back that involved something to do with the post office and ballots. You weren't the Secretary of State at the time, Kris. John, do you recall that?
I believe it was in Randolph County.
Was it Randolph?
And it was someone who was collecting ballots from people, maybe as many as a dozen ballots, and somehow mishandled them. It looked to me to be intentional, but I don't know. But Kris, does that ring a bell with you?
I vaguely remember that, and we've had some cases of where people have collected voter registrations. It's, let's say, a county fair or something, or collected ballots, and then because they thought they knew how that person might vote or how that person might register, did not turn those in. Those are all, election crimes that we're going to investigate. And I believe in that case, somebody had found those in a waste paper basket inside the post office and notified the Secretary of State's office, and they investigated. So again, we say if you see something, say something, let us know, report that information.
All right. Kris, I have 2 minutes left, by the way. Was there any other information you needed to make sure our audience heard about?
Yeah, no, I know the way you all loved my brother when he was in office, but I'm still trying to clean up the mess, just like the bedroom at home.
Just like the bedroom at home.
Oh, man. It's just, I learned early I had to clean up his mess at home. Now I got to do it in the office. I'm just joking. He put together an amazing staff that really made things easy to get us started, and quite frankly, keep the focus on elections, but also be able to turn the corner and really focus on West Virginia businesses.
Well, Kris, when you see Mac, tell him Doyle said hi.
Yeah, definitely say hi for us.
He's over your way in the swamp now, so he's at the Department of Justice. As I understand it, might be leading the election effort, but he does not talk to the press, so I've got to learn and pass it along.
Well, I had two younger brothers, Kris, and there's two kind of younger brothers, the kind that take their towel from the shower and throw it on the floor of your bedroom or on your bed, and the kind that don't shower, so you wish they would at least have a wet towel.
Which one was Mac, Kris?
Well, I was the younger brother, and I had 5 brothers, so everything rolls downhill, and I was child number 5.
Oh, my.
Okay.
I've seen it all.
Yeah, but by that point, when you came along, I'm sure your parents were like, yeah, go play in the street. That's fine. We're not worried anymore. Right?
That's pretty much the case. There was nothing new that I could show them.
That's right. Hey, Kris, thanks so much, man. We appreciate your time, and please thank Mike Queen for me as well.
We'll do so. Thanks, sir.
Have a great day.